we did it. What's a
It's nice to
virtual
see
meeting?
you.
Nice to see you too. What's a virtual meeting without a little bit of technical
I
difficulty?
know, I know.
Always a reminder, like, okay, I'm not in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. How's your day going?
It's all right. The sun is out. Yeah, I like seeing the trees in your background.
Yeah, yeah. It's always grounding. I mean, it would be I would like to face them too, but the reality is I'm
Uh-huh.
in the woods, so they're all around me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks for making time to meet. As folks are arriving, do you want to do some like grounding and breathing together?
Sure.
Awesome. Well, I just invite you to arrive where you are. If you're comfortable closing your eyes or softening your gaze, just allow yourself to slow down and start to pay attention to your breath. There's no getting it right or wrong. There's just turning our attention to the in breath and the out breath. You can soften your forehead, unclench your jaw, and let your tongue drop from the roof of your mouth. See if your breath can help you soften by just 2%. Just let go 2%. I invite you to put a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. Feel the rise and fall with the in breath and the out breath. As we're breathing, I invite you to feel the seat underneath you and the earth holding you up. Same earth underneath all of us. We don't have to hold it all up ourselves. And as we transition out of this little grounding meditation, when you open your eyes, I just invite you to take in the space around you. You need to do any stretching, drinking water, or anything you need as we arrive.
Thank you. That was needed.
Yeah, thank you too. It's funny. I offer a little bit of breathing and grounding before all my coaching sessions, and although I'm holding the space very often, it's I need it too. It's right back to myself. Like, ah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Practice is practice.
that's right. Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining me today, Meital. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your work and how it connects to liberation?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Freddie. I think I would start with just saying that, what I think has really shifted in my life over the last decades or so is just like an alignment between the work and life trying to be one thing,
Mm,
and not have a lot of separation there. I feel that helps me stay in alignment with the work, which is the life, which is the prayer.
right.
The prayer that I've been tending to is a prayer to bring the Israeli identity and state to a loving and caring death. I'm a death worker, I'm an energy worker, and tending to this specific prayer of bringing that identity and that specific state to its death feels like it's within all of my lineages, like forward and backward and beyond, to tend to that living prayer, and to tend to that fire, and as well as making the weave and the connection between the movement, the Palestinian movement of right of return, with the movement of land back, and how right of return, for that to happen in the scale that it needs to happen, land back practices will need to be offered, and how that is connecting us to Turtle Island and where we're at the moment. And yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, beautiful. And I think all of us, there's ways that finding how our life and our work integrates and
Mhm.
together and is the same. I can understand how we could all benefit from that. And I can also relate to a lot of the challenges that could come up. So I wonder if you can speak a little bit to that interconnectedness and that sameness,
Mhm.
both in the ways that it's supportive and in the ways that it's challenging.
I mean, it's an impossible task given that we're living inside the belly of empire. Um, it's, I think for me, it's a constant decision to lean into not knowing, to surrender to that place of I don't know how all of this is gonna work out, but staying true in terms of relations, in terms of practices, and in terms of also, like, we live in a moment where there's a lot of fingers pointing outwards constantly. I think for me there's an invitation to constantly like point fingers inwards, not to make ourselves bad, but to see how, empire is because we are. We're
Mm,
all feeding it in some way or another. To find all those like feeding tubes, like that's inward work, and to start cutting them and to start detaching from them and to start finding other ways of sustenance for what we need. So I think staying in relations with people that are carrying similar intentions and prayers and not knowing and staying in the questions together is
mhm,
a part of it. Showing up for what I feel I'm here to offer feels connected to that, finding more ways where I can do that work while also sustaining my relationships and who I take care of. Yeah, but again, it's an impossible, it's a constant, like, it's, trying and trusting the not knowing and trusting the attempts and trusting the failure of it as well.
mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so much richness in what you just shared. And for folks listening, I want to lift up the context that you're coming from when you talk about your life's work, which is you're in a pretty unique position in a way to be anti-Zionist and be so bold about talking about Israeli identity or the state of Israel to a loving death as someone who was raised in occupied Palestine and was a former IOF soldier. Now I was reflecting on what's so powerful about what I know of your work. I've read your bloodlines and seen you speak and just seen your commitment to it. I was reflecting that I think what's so powerful about it is like the unwillingness to like shy away from your past and your background and actually to turn toward it and to own it, not in a like self-deprecating, oh, I did all of these things, I'm so horrible, but to own it so that then you can face it and transform it and bring others into that. I was reflecting on how it's so powerful to say I was wrong, and why people don't do that, why there's so much outward finger pointing is because there's this like fear of getting cast out or fear of getting canceled or being bad. The irony is when we actually hold our mistakes, say I was wrong, is when we can integrate ourselves as whole.
There's like different things that you're bringing up, like there's forgiveness, there's accountability, there's like restoration and transformation, repair. And I think in the end, all of those things, like how they have come to be a part of me, is in order for me to be raised and trained and become an IOF soldier, my body was hijacked.
Mm,
I say that the uniform got stitched on me in the womb, and I mean it. And my practice is to return to embodiment so that I can actually see and meet those those parts, those seeds, those unhealthy seeds, those unhealthy attachments from their root, not from the place of like, like this one thing, but like from like widening. I'm writing a book right now, and all I'm trying to do is just widen to be able to like catch what is being asked of us right now, right? So like to widen beyond that like one thing into like the web of it, and from that place to do the work that is also like for me again, like it's my dedication, my life's work for Palestinian liberation is because my liberation is interconnected to it. It's not something that I do out of guilt or out of shame or out of punishment. It's something that I do because it's how I get free. When I say right of return will happen with land back, that is my freedom to offer my home back.
Mm.
Again, if that will be enacted from a place of punishment and shame and guilt, we're restarting the cycle.
Right.
So I think for me, there's a place of really understanding that to face the wrong, to face what I've done, to face all of those actions within my life is to face the system that I've created it, is to face the wound that I've created it, and to face the grief that was stolen for those things to be created. And then how can I use my own vessel, this body, the more that I embody it, to do this work for the lineages, right? So a part of my practice right now is really to work with the unwell ancestors after years and years of grounding my circles with well ancestors, to really delve into deep work with the unwell ancestors, because this vessel can offer this now.
You spoke about how your work, your life, they're the same things. And again, that
Trying to be.
right. Well, yeah, on some level it is, right? I think what I'm trying to get at is like sometimes it seems like it's less of a choice and more of like an acknowledgement of the reality. You talk about the IOF uniform being stitched onto you at or before birth, and like so of course your political spiritual work is intertwined with your being. Um, yeah, and the theme of these conversations I've been having is around burnout and sustaining ourselves, sustaining our work. And I wonder if you could speak to your experience of that. This is heavy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think a few things. One thing, I think that the hardest thing that I find myself facing is just staying soft in it. Staying soft, and again that widening that is needed, and it's like the widening in to face empire, right? Like how much wider can we get to actually face the web of it, not the specificity of it, but the entire thing through all the specificities that we're all connected to. So I think staying soft has been something that I've been struggling with, and I keep trying to find ways to remember to stay there. A lot of it has to do with grace, which I don't know how to say more about at the moment, but there's something there. And then again, in the realm of embodiment, my partner, who we've been together for many years now, is a dancer, and through practice with them and learning from them so much, this notion of a backspace and a midline has become really grounding for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's been a deep intention into how much of the time we want to be here, like really forward,
Mm-hmm.
and our voice wants to be here, and we constantly need to find something to say that is forward facing. And I think for me, first of all, I've been really trusting the nonverbal, which has always been a very comfortable, not necessarily comfortable, a very needed space for me. Which I want to also state, in giving permission to the nonverbal, that it's not silent.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other ways of expression there. So that's one thing. And another thing is really like learning to like lean back, find a way to find your backspace, work with your backspace, find your midline, work with your midline, and then like lean into it. There's so much more space to soften and to widen from here. There's also a practice that I can share later that is connected to that for me. But those are the things that I think have been like challenging and supportive in terms of burnout. I find myself in burnout when I don't trust the nonverbal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's important about staying soft?
I think that that is the only way, like, when I talk about that widening, when I talk about like being able to offer this vessel to my unwell ancestors, to my lineages, for us to do this work, when I talk about showing up from a place of again, not pointing fingers outwards, like all of that needs softness for me. Which is not for everyone, but like how this body works, like when softness happen, there's a leaning back. When leaning back happen, there's space to actually be in connection also with more than just like this speaking voices and what we call human bodies, but be in relation and be in connection.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to orient away from pointing fingers outward, I assume we're also not trying to point fingers inward, right? What would you imagine is the sort of somatic experience that you'd like to embody and you would like for, those of us trying to get free to embody?
Yeah, I mean, I think to an extent, pointing fingers inward
Mm.
is an okay practice as long as it comes from like a soft place and not from like a policing of the self, or like a like shaming of the self, or like dragging of the self, and all that. Like if it
Yeah.
actually comes from a place of like awareness and orientation, I think there's a lot of alignment when we are like looking at ourselves and
Mm.
looking how we are as individuals and as a collective, are still complicit in everything we're trying to topple.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
um so yeah, so kind of like I think there's humility there for me
Mm.
that I'm trying to find.
I think it's just
Mhm.
so hard. We live in this binary society, and it's so hard, like, if we're pointing fingers outward in this sort of aggressive way to just like swing back in our direction. Like,
Mhm.
a mirror is kind of what comes up.
Mhm.
And I don't know, also something in my practice, coaching with queer and trans freedom fighters, I try and be a mirror because it's not, there's not like wisdom to pull from somewhere else other than from this like grounded spirit place. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the up for me.
And I think that's like the reflections, right? Like the mirror, the reflection, like everything we're pointing a finger outward towards is the reflection to
Right.
who we are, were, could be a part of, not a part. It's yeah. So I think there's a way in which, I go to a gym, and I'm a little bit in the suburbs of Los Angeles, and um I went there today, and I was wearing like my BDS shirt, my boycott, divest, sanction shirt, and I was looking around, and everyone, like the majority of the people there, have like All Lives Matter shirts, but they also have words of liberation and freedom,
Hmm.
and other words that without that All Lives flag and all that, I would be like, huh, where are
Yeah.
you going from here, you know? And I think there's a way in which language has been failing us
Hmm.
deeply. I think there's ways in which words that mean so much, words that are living prayers, have become commodified and marketed, and what's left is this reflections of like, like your liberation is not my liberation is not your liberation. We're fighting for different liberations, but we're both facing the same fire and made of the same thing. And when I say like not pointing the fingers outwards, there's so much work that we need to do in our movements, in ourselves, with each other, with the people that we like, so quote unquote agree with,
Hmm.
right? There's so much work that we have to do with each other. That I think that constant addiction to rage,
Hmm.
to what's enraging us, um, takes a lot away from us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Dehumanizing inward and outward.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned having a practice that you can share. Would you like to transition into?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, so this has really been for me a place to work with unwell ancestors, but it's also like a place to work with ancestors in general. And just want to offer that if you've never done work with ancestors, don't start with the unwell one.
Mm. Mhm.
We need the support of the well ones to like find that. I said that earlier, circles of ground. to get fortified. But what I've been doing is, again, speaking about like backspace, speaking about leaning back, starting with just very easily kind of finding hand on the back of the neck, kind of really caressing the back of the neck, and another hand on the tailbone on the bottom of the back. If this doesn't work for a specific body, there's many other ways to do this. It can also be done from here without the hands. But this kind of helps me ground into it. And I kind of just start here and I close my eyes if that feels comfortable. And I lean into my hands. So I lean back into this fold for a moment. And kind of feel how it feels to hold myself. And after a few moments of finding this, I let the hand goes, but I stay leaning back. And I start imagine and feel and see all the beings that are holding my back. So there might be ancestors, they might have hands, they might have branches or wings or fins. It's kind of giving myself time to really lean into everything that is holding my back. And the more that I stay here, the more I can really sense who they are, how are they holding, do they have faces, maybe it's textures, anything that supports your senses into understanding what's there behind your back, what is supporting your back space. And then when I feel like I have a felt sense of all of those hands, I let my hands stretch forward to hold everything that I offer it back to. And in this place of being completely held while holding, in this one continuum of life and death and everything in between. And when I feel like I'm a part of this chain, this golden thread of hands, allow yourself to really get fortified by it. And let go when you're ready to come out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for practicing with me. I think for me it's this understanding of being a part of not needing to do this alone,
Yep.
of being completely supported. Like there's actually no effort when you're fully held to
Right.
hold. And I think from that place for me, it's been really grounding to invite the unwell ancestors to be like, we can all be a part of this, and then let's do the work that we need to do here.
Yeah. Yeah. What that exercise also evoked for me is a mantra of mine of God is the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So often pictured the man in the sky or whatever
Yeah.
of God of the universe as what's underneath me, helping hold me up and support us all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's a really beautiful practice, and thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah. Thanks for receiving it, Freddie.
Is there anything you wanted to share today that you didn't get a chance to say?
I don't think so. Thank you for doing this. Thanks for inviting people to practice together. Thanks for the work that you do. Thanks for supporting our kin in so many ways. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Meital. And can you let anyone watching now or listening later know how to get connected with and follow your work?
Yes, thank you. The best way to know what I'm up to is to get on my mailing list, which you can do on Instagram on my page, Bloodlines Book. There's a link to get on the mailer. There's also a button there to take you to truenamecollective.com, where we can do one-on-one work in relation to energy work and death work, dead name rituals, and more. And if you haven't read Bloodlines, get a copy. Give it to someone who needs it.
Yeah, it's a really, really beautiful and moving book. And I'll also make sure to put your website and mailing list info and all that in the show notes. But thank you so much, Maytal. Really
Thank you.
work in the world. And yeah, till next time,
Yes.
take care.
Bye.